Welcome, everybody. Our special guest coming to us from California, Grant Offenberger. He is an internationally certified, renowned hypnotherapist, and he grants people peace by leading them to the journey of healing in such a beautiful way. Welcome to the show. This is the Jim Masters Show Live, entertainment, lifestyle, celebrity talk show series. I'm your host, Jim Masters. If you want to comment, interact with us during the course of the show, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. And when you do that, it doesn't cost anything. It's easy to do. You can comment in the JMS Lovely Hall chat room, which is something very special. Say hi to us, say hi to one another as well, and have a good time with us. Grant, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hi, Jim. It's a pleasure to be here.
How are you, and how are things in California? You're sort of positioned between Los Angeles and San Diego, right?
Right. I'm in the Inland Empire. Weather's always fairly good. It's slightly warm right now, but it's perfect.
That's fantastic. Well, that's great. Starting off with a nice week like that. A little rainy here on the East Coast and the Northeast, but we can use the rain. You know, you need that for the flowers and shrubs and trees and everything else. We don't want any droughts or anything. Speaking of droughts, you know, sometimes people have a drought in their own lives. Tell us about your work and how you got started in the world of hypnotherapy, Grant.
Oh, sure. Where do I even start? If you need to stop me at any moment,
when I was
just
a
let me know.
5-year-old.
I know, right? So when I was a 5-year-old, I was always interested in influential figures. I was fascinated in politics and infomercials and all sorts of ways of people creating a sort of draw towards them. I didn't know what it was.
Many of those infomercials too.
Have you?
Yeah, I posted a lot over the years. Yeah, they're cool.
Oh, nice. And I didn't know what it was about them. But then I started to research cults as I got older because I thought that was interesting how people had so much draw towards them, so much magneticism towards them, and I didn't know what it was. I later saw a video about Tony Robbins because I wanted to see if he was a cult. I didn't know. I just like to be curious.
Especially with his passion and enthusiasm, right? He's like, okay, let's go. You can do it. Come on.
Exactly. And so I'm watching this video, and I knew a little bit about stage hypnosis from going to the fair. I loved it, but I didn't know anything about it. But as I saw Tony Robbins talking to these people, I realized he's hypnotizing them. I don't know how, but I know he is. And so I looked it up and I found out he was doing neuro-linguistic programming. He was using a form of hypnosis to help these people. And I was hooked. I figured if I could learn that, then that's amazing because it's all the interesting things of people being influential, but you're helping people. You can do these same things people use for self-gain, but to give others something in return. And that's how I got started.
That is really cool. So you've had some mentors along the way and people that have inspired you, like some of those names, right?
Right. I've been very lucky to have people help me out. Like the stage hypnotist at the OC Fair, Mark Uzak, he's had me on stage. So I've been on stage working with him and he shows me what he does, why he does it, learned firsthand with him. I've been on the stage at the OC Fair with stage hypnosis because of that. I've learned from a hypnotist named Jason Lynette. He's really helped me out. He's been my teacher for a long time. And he's taught me a lot of really valuable things. Various people in the field, including a man named Tim Chismar, who you do know. He's helped me along the route as well. He's helped me with opportunities, with showing me different ways to reach out and inform more people about hypnosis. So I've had some really good people behind me.
So Tim, who of course is a terrific comedian, and he just sparks thought, which I think is really a cool thing. You know, he gets you thinking about life through his unique take on the craziness of life. Tell us about how, you know, you've worked with Tim and Tim has actually worked with you on these occasions. That's kind of cool. You don't usually think of the combination of certified hypnotherapist and comedian, although comedy is like psychology and hypnotism. I mean, there's a lot of different correlations and blends between the two, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can cross over any of them. So I met him years ago, and we've always interacted, but we got really close recently, and we've started to work together.
He's watching right
There he
No.
is.
Tim.
He's a great guy. And we've worked together. We've been on TV shows together. He's hosted the show. I've done stage hypnosis there, done comedy. He's a comedian. It works out well. He likes to promote body positivity. I like to promote mental
That's
health.
important.
So it
Yeah.
works out perfectly. I'm going to be on a movie with him, and maybe next month the filming should start. So we'll be working together again. We've done lots of things together, and we continue to elevate people through it.
How do you describe the work that you do for people who have heard, hypnotism, hypnotherapy, all of that, hypnotherapist, but they're not exactly sure what it is? Sometimes they're thinking medium, psychic, spiritual, hypnotizing. How do you break it out and really explain what you do? Because you're, internationally renowned and certified, and the certified is a big important thing to look for when you're searching out a good hypnotherapist, right? How do you define the work that you do?
Right. There's so much confusion, and a lot of it is on the hypnotist part because they don't explain what they're doing perfectly. And so I've been working to explain it and to keep out kind of the mysticism behind it because there isn't any. Because all hypnosis is direct focused attention. That's all it is. When you do hypnotherapy, you're implementing therapeutic techniques with that focused attention. So when you're driving a car and you got home and you're not even consciously aware of how you got home, you just did it. When you're scrolling on social media and all of a sudden it's 1 o'clock in the morning, you should be going to bed. Well, that's hypnosis because you were so focused on that one thing. And so you do various techniques, various inductions where you just grab their attention. You keep their attention even deeper. And as their attention goes within, you can do all sorts of various therapeutic techniques with it. I like to describe myself as a mental personal trainer because lots of people think the hypnotist is doing something to you. Mind control, they have greater power. Whereas this puts us on the same level. You're the one doing all the exercises. You're the one doing all the work. I'm showing you how to do it. You have all the power. And so that's why I like to describe it that way.
That is cool. So, right. I like the way you say that because you and I were talking about that before we went live on air. And folks, we are live. So if you have any questions, want to interact with us, post it in the Lovely Hall comments section when you subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can interact with us as well and give a like and all. You remind people that the power really is in their hands. I think when they think of hypnotherapy, they think that they are, and again, it's a misconception, they're handing over all power, all knowing, all control, and they have no control and no power before, during, and after. But that's not the case, right?
That's exactly the opposite. And I understand why people think that through TV shows. They show it that way. Through stage hypnosis, it seems that way. And so I understand why they feel that way. When I first started, I would have clients try to fight me on it. And I thought that was fascinating. They'd spend this money, they'd spend the time to get help, but they were so programmed to think hypnosis is mind control, they'd try to fight any help. The truth is, that I'm just showing you what you can do. And if you do it, you'll see just how powerful you are and your mind is.
See, that's what's important. What is a session like? And like, is there a typical client? Are they struggling with things, or are they just trying to figure themselves out? Do they want to maybe take what they know and what they've experienced in their life and maybe grow it and expand on it further? Or is it all of the above, Grant?
It's a mixture of everything. You'll get people who have an addiction to drugs that have tried all sorts of things and they don't know what to do, and they come here and it's been successful. You'll get people who just want to see what it's like. That's a little bit more difficult because I'm performing therapy. So if you don't have an issue, it's a little more difficult. But people that come in with any sort of issue, from chronic pain to anxiety to dependency to anything that's within the mind, if it's in the mind, then you can simply just change the mind. So I see a lot of different issues.
When did people also realize you have these gifts? You have all the training that goes with it, but it's a little something extra that you have to understand the human condition in the way that you do. When did people start to recognize that you have these gifts, Grant?
Well, before I ever did hypnotherapy, people were already coming to me with all sorts of problems. So they realized that before I ever got any certification. The certification just helped me make a career out of it. But I've always been fascinated in the human experience and how to improve it. That's my whole mission, is to perfect the human experience. For me, the way I like to live my life, I've perfected it for me, and I'd like to help people perfected in their own image of what they want their life to be like. So people have seen that with me for a long time now.
So when you say sort of perfected your life, what would be some examples of that? What is an example or two of sort of perfecting one's life? How does that work?
Well, some of it is knowing what you want and getting down into the exact details, because if you
Nitty
don't know,
gritty.
yeah, if you don't know what you want, how do you know when you got it? So I've done that and I've gotten everything I've wanted. Another thing is realizing that even the negative things are sometimes goods, because if you're living in paradise all the time, that could be boring. So sometimes you need to shake things up a little bit. Sometimes you need a little bit of struggle. And it's just that understanding that everything is there for you for pure entertainment and joy.
See, that's the thing. That's what's really important. How do you deal with the tough times? How do you deal when sometimes you're questioning life and, why are these things happening to me? And, uh, you know, sometimes people, when bad things happen, they even say, the good die young and just things like that, where they'll question God. Why did you let this happen? And just times when life can really be overwhelming. How does this come into play to help people through those really dark times, rough times in their life? Because I know you find ways to help them heal. So how do they lift, and how do you help them lift from the dark? And what are some ways that it helps people actually heal their lives?
Yeah, so sometimes the worst times are the best learning experiences. A lot of times, a coping mechanism people will do is to simply just not think about it, to push it away, to bottle it up. And that's not a good thing. If you look at children, when something happens to them, they'll cry, they'll go through the emotions, but they won't stay with it. They'll then move on to the next thing. And so it's a little bit of showing people that it's okay to feel these things. Give them that space, that permission to feel it, show them how to positively interact with those feelings, and then take the learning experience out of it, because it happened. You can't change that, but you can get something from it. So what did we learn from this? How are we going to move forward in a positive way where we can make sure our lives get even better from here? And there's a whole process. If it's negative thought cycles, if it's something bad that happened that you just keep putting in a loop in your mind, we've all done it. There's all sorts of simple little techniques you can even show someone really quickly, because memory is kind of false. Every time you remember, you're remembering the last memory of it. So,
Right.
with that in mind, what you can do is simply just alter that memory, just add another character, change the scene a little. You know you're changing it, but you're breaking up that cycle, that negative pattern, that feedback loop of emotion and events. And a lot of times, these negative things that happen are good in the fact that they motivate you, because your only two motivations are avoiding pain or seeking pleasure. And so when that negative thing happens, a lot of times that jump starts the rest of your life. You have the motivation to continue.
That's the bottom line. What you just said right there, the motivation to continue. We've been through something crazy the last couple of years, and we've talked about it a little bit here and there with some of our fabulous guests the last 3+ years on the Jim Master Show series. What are some of the things that you see people struggling with? Like, I would imagine, like, I've talked to life coaches and other motivational people as well, and some are even friends, and they've said that they have been busier than ever. People have been reaching out. People have been confused. People have been trying to figure out what's going on, what's happening. Every day there's something crazy happening. I would imagine the last couple of years, you've been kept very busy trying to help people find clarity in their lives with all the smoke that's happening in every direction of our lives.
Oh yeah, people are looking for answers and everyone's looking for a different kind of answer. Everyone's looking for something. And with the last few years, that's really shaken up people's routine. It's been a pattern interrupt. We have a normal daily routine, weekly, monthly routine, and it kind of just broke everything. And it leaves people to question. And people have been coming because they're looking for answers. And it's a whole process. You do get a lot more people because of this, because of everything that's happened. And you've gotten a lot more people. And I try to stagger it because I don't want to get just one client in and out, next one in and out. I want to give them their time. I don't even time our session. If our session takes up to 2 hours, well, whatever you need. So it's important to space them out to make sure as many people are getting the best help they can get.
Now, is a lot of this done, I imagine, of course, in person, and you also travel. You've been all over. I know you're headed to Las Vegas. You do stage shows as well. And do you do some of this online or over, the internet as well, since that's a technology that has ramped up so much lately?
Oh, yes. I've done specific schooling for how to do hypnosis online because it's a little different, but it's just as effective. So it's just learning, getting certified in online hypnosis. So I've done it over Zoom. I've even done it over Facebook Messenger video. In fact, you can, as long as there's a direct live feed, you can do it anywhere. So I mainly have people in the office. I also do over Zoom, over video call. That's a great way. And then certain days of the week, I'll even do house calls anywhere from LA to San Diego. I'll travel and I'll do house calls. Or if I'm at a seminar, an event I'm doing anywhere in that area, I'll do house calls as well. I try to reach people any way that they may need me.
Tim has a question, which is a good one. And that is, well, first he said he came to you because he didn't have any addictions. He was able to you gave him an addiction, and that's you. I like it. Well, he's addicted to the Jim Masters show. So we got Tim addicted here, which is great. And he's addicted to you.
Hey, I can't blame him. I
Kind of
can't blame him.
Hey, if you're going to have an addiction, that's a good one to have. He's got a question too. He says, all things being equal, do you prefer one-on-one or sort of the group, the larger sessions? And how do they differ?
It's like, how do you choose which child is your favorite? One-on-one is beautiful because these people can open up and be so brutally, completely honest with their lives. And we just have this whole connection and it's all about them. So that's amazing. I'm so thankful I get to do that for people. Group ones are beautiful in the fact that I get to educate people to empower themselves at a mass scale. Get as many people in the room, and I'll do a PowerPoint. Also like to keep it humorous because I don't want to ever be serious and stuffy. And I like to do a PowerPoint, show people all these different theories and techniques behind hypnosis, show them how they can do it themselves so they don't have to rely on me forever, and then do a whole group hypnosis. So that's beautiful in the fact that it's almost a party, whereas the other one is such an intimate experience, but they're both great.
That's fantastic. When you have an opportunity to work with, a group of people, it's got to be quite interesting. We have a quick little clip here. This is Shangri-La, the market short. You want to tell us about this?
Oh yeah, so I go to all sorts of different events. Anyone that wants me there, that we communicate and we're on board for the mission and the goal of what they want me to teach. And this one was a smaller little intimate event in LA. There were a few handful of people in the audience, and I was there to teach them all sorts of things about how to basically manifest, how to create things that they want out of life through confidence, how their confidence is attached to all of it. And so it was a nice little event where I got to show a good handful of people how to go about that.
Let's get on that plane right now, folks, together on the Jim Masters Show and travel to Shangri-La. Here we are. So that's just a little clip. Tell us what we were seeing and what you were doing in that.
Oh yeah, so this was a beautiful place. It's hidden away in downtown LA. You wouldn't know it's there, and it goes up these stairs, and there's like a forest, and it's a really pretty place. And so I was there to teach people how to create confidence and how to use that to create success and abundance, how to create the life they want. So I I had people sit there and we just went over the basic foundations of hypnosis, of neurolinguistic programming, of how to create patterns within your mind, how to anchor feelings. At a whiteboard there, we were going to do demonstrations. And as they were sitting there, after they learned everything they needed to learn, we did a whole group hypnosis exercise. So we did a whole induction and we had it custom tailored to each individual person. We kept the message vague enough where everyone could attach themselves to the meaning, and everyone got really into it. They were hugging me at the end, they were talking to me about it. It was a really good time to teach people, because you can do a group hypnosis with people, but if you don't show them why they're doing what they're doing and how to do it beforehand, they might not do it right. Just like a personal trainer, if you tell someone to exercise but you've never shown them how to lift the weight, what if they hurt
Right.
themselves?
What if they
So
hurt themselves? Exactly.
right. So that was great to do that for them.
What is it like when you go to places like Las Vegas and you're doing it sort of on the stage in front of an audience? Then there's elements of entertainment involved as well, right? Tell us about that.
Oh yeah, stage hypnosis is wonderful. Some hypnotherapists don't like it because it gives hypnotherapy a bad name, but I think it's great because most people learn about hypnosis through stage hypnosis. And
Right.
it's fun, it's funny, it gets people to feel great emotions. It's this interesting dance between showmanship and hypnosis itself. You're already getting people on stage that want to put on a show. They're volunteering, begging to be on stage. So at the beginning, maybe they are just putting on a show, but somewhere within it, throughout the process, you get them into trance. You get them deeper into trance, and then there's various levels of trance that you get them through. You get them first through small muscle catalepsy. Basically, the eyelids are a good go-to because they're one of the weakest muscles. You relax them so deeply that they just make sure their eyelids don't work. Move on to large muscle catalepsy. So basically the arms or the legs are so heavy they don't work. From there, you can go to aphasia. Maybe you've seen a stage hypnosis where they ask the person their name and they can't say their name. That's aphasia. They've worked their way up to there. And then there's amnesia where they forget something. You have them forget all sorts of different things. Even they can forget their name. They don't even know it. It's not just they can't say it. After that, you can do positive hallucinations where either they see something, they hear something, like, oh, they see a rat running on the stage. And then you move on to one of the deepest ones, negative hallucination, where you remove something. So I've
Mm.
seen stage hypnotists and I've done certain things where you can't see me. And then you hold the doll and, oh, the doll's floating around. That's pretty weird. So it affects everyone differently. Some people, maybe the person on stage is just playing along, but a lot of them aren't. Most of them are in a trance because you've worked throughout those various levels of hypnosis, and that can affect them differently. Some people, they see you, but emotionally they feel like they can't see you, and it's kind of weird. And then some people literally, they swear they can't see you with a negative hallucination. So everyone's affected differently, and some of it is showmanship, some of it is hypnosis, and it's beautiful to blur the lines.
Exactly right. Do they go physically numb, or are they always still, in control of their bodies? Do you sort of, a lot of times you do see, or at least it's visualized or presented where people are sort of like limp and numb and, they can't even lift themselves out of the chair. Does that happen a lot? And what causes our bodies to do that if and when that happens? We're just totally at ease, totally free from the rigidity and stiffness of everyday life.
That's basically it. You've guided someone into such a deep relaxation. I mean, if a fire alarm went off, if anything happened, if they felt uncomfortable by you, they could easily get up and move. But you've got them in such a feeling, you've gotten their rapport, you guys are engaged together, they want to do this, and so they allow themselves to relax at a level that maybe they've never relaxed that deeply before, but they are in control of that.
That's really cool. It absolutely, it's quite amazing, when you hear about it and you see it. What are some of the things that happen to you while you're doing it? I can't tell you how many people that I've talked to who do things just, as incredible as massage therapy. And then I'll say, my God, when you were doing that to me, releasing the tension in the shoulder blades, and massage therapists always say, Jim, wow, you're always so easy and comfortable and carefree and calming and reassuring. But boy, do you hold up all your tension in your shoulder blades, underneath the shoulder blades. I said, I know it doesn't necessarily come out here. It's pushed back there. Every once in a while, it comes out here, but it's generally back there. And you can, just it's fantastic. But I'm hearing the way they're breathing, and I can hear sounds that the massage therapist is making, and you can tell that they're all in, like they doing their work, are transported to some other place as they're really zoned in and focused on providing something that brings you physical joy, spiritual, mental, whatever you get out of it. Does something similar happen to you? Are you like deep in? Do things happen to you as you're doing this with everybody else?
Oh yeah, when I'm doing hypnotherapy, I'll be in the middle of it, and at some point, I'll be consciously observing myself and my own work, and I'll go, "Wow, I'm in a trance as well. This must be good. This is probably very good." And I'll just catch myself feeling just as focused, just as relaxed. So, I mean, I'm also getting some of the benefits when I'm helping them because I unintentionally put myself in a trance as well.
You put yourself in a trance as well?
Yes, you can feel that sense of calm, focus, deeply relaxed and deeply attention on one thing, and I can feel that within myself. When you kind of get out of the trance, you feel like you just woke up. That's why they say sleep to a degree. You're not sleeping, but you do feel kind of like you just woke up because you're naturally in a hypnotic state when you first wake up and when you first go to bed. It's called hypnagogic and hypnologic. In fact, a long time ago, they would prescribe medicine and they said, okay, in the morning before you take this, say every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. It was a hypnotic suggestion they were giving themselves. They're called auto-suggestions.
That's incredible. You mentioned something earlier about, and it's happened to me on several occasions, and it blows my mind every time it happens. And that's when, say, for example, you are driving on the highway and say you just went over a bridge. You just drove over a highway bridge. And now you're 2 exits past the bridge and something clicks in where you're like, I don't remember approaching the bridge, driving over the bridge, or anything that's happened since the bridge. I know I drove over it, but I have no memory of driving physically, visually, attentively over the bridge. How the heck does that how are we operating this vehicle with all the traffic and the lanes and the bridge and doing that while not being in the river underneath?
I know, right? That used to scare me too. I'd be like, how did I get home? What is happening? But the truth is, that might be one of the safest ways to do it because there's so much going on around you all the time. There's so much information to take in. If you took in all the information, you would just go crazy because there's just so much stimulation in life. So when you're doing something that you've repeated over and over again, like that drive you've done a million times, the conscious mind just gives it away to the subconscious mind. Almost everything you do is subconscious, from how tightly you grip a glass of tea so you don't drop it or you don't break the glass, from tying your shoes, from anything at all, your heart rate, your breathing, almost everything. 90 to 95% of what you do is subconscious. So maybe you don't realize consciously that you've been driving this car, but that's almost everything. You're not realizing consciously what you're doing most of the time. And so it's pretty safe, actually.
How do our dreams come into play with any of this? Work that you do, people will have different dreams, and sometimes they can vividly remember the dream, and sometimes it was a powerful dream, but they can't remember anything of it once they wake up. Do you get into anything to do with dreaming?
Yeah, dreams are interesting. I don't personally work with them a lot of the time because a lot of them deal with memories, and memories are pretty vague, pretty false a lot of the times. But memories are a great way to, or dreams are a great way to deal with some things in the subconscious mind. I don't know about you, but when I observed some of the dreams that I remember, they were just thoughts that didn't really mean much to me throughout my day, but then they played out in these interesting stories in my dreams, and I actually feel a lot better having worked with them. So a lot of times dreams can be just bringing up things that you didn't necessarily work on, you didn't deal with that you should have throughout the day.
Uh, One of our viewers, I think it was Merlin up in Canada, had asked, do you teach people self hypnosis at all?
Oh yeah. Even with a one-on-one hypnotherapy session at the end, I'll also teach them self-hypnosis, give them hypnotic tracks that I record in my microphone after the session, so it's custom tailored to them. I don't want you to have to rely on me. It's a terrible business plan, but I don't want you to have to be coming to me forever. Maybe a few sessions if it's needed, but I want you to have the skills where you can take your power back, where you do this on your own.
See, that's what's really important, and that's what's so cool about all of this. You're as much as you're doing, you're teaching, right? A big part of this is you love teaching other people to be able to rely on themselves and pull up and call upon when you're not in the room or online or what have you, some of the things that you've shown them, right?
Right. I mean, this is so fascinating to me. It's my passion, and I've spent years before discovering hypnosis. I spent years studying all sorts of different things trying to find this. I just didn't know what it was. And so I'm trying to help people kind of cut out the middleman, looking in different routes like this is where it's at. You can help yourself. And so that's what I try to do with every client I have.
Kathleen in New York City has a question. She asked, "Can you hypnotize someone who doesn't want to be?" So they're
That's
they're resistant.
That's a great question. I get that question a lot, and it is a good question. And the answer, quite simply, is no. You can't do that because I'm not hypnotizing you. I'm only showing you how to get yourself into a hypnotic trance. So, just as my analogy of I'm your mental personal trainer, if a personal trainer told you to lift that weight and you said no, you wouldn't grow any muscles, you wouldn't get any healthier because you're not doing the work.
It's amazing. There are other things too, and I don't know if you incorporate any of this into your work, but there are other things in our society and in our environment that can give us this feeling of. Sometimes I correlate, hypnotism with almost like an elation that is coming out of it. I look at it in a positive way. So certain foods, sometimes you hear people say they have a piece of chocolate and they feel like they're in a hypnotic state because of their flavors and just what's happening inside as you do that. Listening to music, certain kinds of music, which is very, very big for me. When life is upside down and crazy, there's a couple of things that I like to do. Music immediately, things that are comedy, things that are light, things that make you think about the craziness of life, things that are the antithesis of everything being real, raw, and in your face, the comedy. And then nature, the ocean, gardening, being out amongst trees, animals, things of that nature, that those things are very hypnotic for me. The ocean is, music is, but there are certain things like foods, smells, other things around us that can almost be sort of hypnotic for people, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, all hypnosis is direct focused attention. If you're getting so absorbed in that song, if that item of food is so good, you have all that dopamine and you're just focused on the taste of that. Anything where you're directly focused is a trance. And some trances are deeper than others, but all of that stuff, you're hypnotized so many times throughout your day, almost entirely just at different levels. So all of that will be hypnosis. It'll be a hypnotic trance.
Especially when they're watching the Jim Master Show live series, right? It's very
Oh
hypnotic.
yeah,
It's very
because it's just
healing,
so beautiful, you know?
very yeah, trance-like for everybody. Um, you know, one of the great things about what you do, again, in addition to the teaching, is the fact that you also go to Comic Cons, and people might not think of hypnotherapist and Comic Con together. We got a tiny little clip here. This may be the one where there is a fire alarm or
It probably
something.
is.
Do you want to? I'll be like Johnny Carson. Do you want to set up the clip, Grant, or should we run it and then talk about it after? Or do you think it needs a setup?
Let's go for it, and then I'll
alarm?
talk about it after. I want to
what
create some
happened?
questions.
All right. And Tim Chismar is in this, right?
Yes, he is.
Yes, it's a whole panel. Tell us about the San Diego Comic Con International and what that's like, and how you being there, some of what you've been able to do being in a Comic Con situation.
Oh yeah, so San Diego Comic Con International, and most people know about it because it's so special. It's not just about comics, it's almost a whole cultural event, not even in the convention center, lining the streets blocks away. This is a fascinating thing for everyone around. And I've been going for a very long time. I've been going for years because my father's in the comic industry, so I've seen it. And when I was there last year, I thought, this is a good place to teach people about hypnosis because so many people are storytellers here. So many people are writing stories for comics, movie, TV, you name it, they are storytellers. And I can show them how to use hypnotic language for dynamic storytelling, how to incorporate these hypnotic techniques to really engage their audience. And I didn't know how to get a panel. I had never done it before, but I knew I was going to get it. And somehow I did, luckily. And I got some really good people on my panel.
I heard it was a fire burner of an event.
Yeah, that was a great time as well. Luckily, just for the very ending.
All right, let's take a look at this clip and then we'll talk about it after, folks.
Sure.
Here it is.
To me, mind magic
May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. Please evacuate the building by the nearest exit.
I have a panel at 8 o'clock. So much for my panel.
You can find me at GrammyHughes.com. I'll be doing silly things like this. I'll be helping people as well.
Comic
I'll see you
book.
outside. I was just about to tell you what we're doing next.
Shut down Comic-Con. Sorry, guys. We're in.
Please evacuate the building by the nearest
So that actually, was it when you were getting up to speak and do your thing, or when you just finished, or?
Luckily for us, it was at the very end, the questions and answers. So people just came outside and asked questions. But it was an interesting little experience to have the fire alarm go off at the end of your very first Comic-Con panel. And I had never had a Comic-Con panel. I didn't know if the San Diego Comic-Con audience was interested in anything to do with hypnosis. I remember, because I can get a good amount of people, but I know these people are interested in hypnosis. For something like this, I had no idea. I was like, maybe 10 people will show up? I don't know. But then I went inside and realized I had 2 rooms, not just one panel room. I had 2. and the thing was filled. I was so happy to see that so many people were interested in learning these techniques, that it was a full double room for the panel. Well, like 200 people. I'm not quite sure how many people they fit in there, but it was packed.
That is so cool. What are some of the maybe experiences, like case studies that you can share with us? Not of course their names necessarily, but situations where you worked with somebody and they were at certain point in their life and you were able to help them get to, the other side of things. Any come to mind?
Yeah, so there's so many stories we could talk about, from all sorts of different things, like methamphetamine addiction. I've had a good amount of those, actually, and to see how they can take back their control with it, how they've been struggling for years, and just a few sessions and they know they have the control to no longer be dependent on that. Some fun ones have been for phobias, because these people have been living their whole lives afraid of different things, and you can show them how to change their life. Like, I've had one who was afraid of flying, and yet she flies all the time. And so she's been living her whole life in fear. And so we discuss it, and we discuss what goes on with her life at that point. What is her thought process during that? And the whole time she thinks it's going to crash and fall and be on fire and she'll die. And so I ask what she does during that process. And she's listening to me. She's holding her husband's hand because she's scared. She's doing all these different things. And if you got rid of that story, everything else is a pleasant experience. You're listening to music, you're sitting next to your husband holding his hand, and all these different things. And through some hypnotic techniques, and then following it with the suggestion of, this is the time that you get your alone time because you're always so busy, and this is the time you get to listen to music, hold his hand, do all these different things. With the inclusion of the techniques that we used and finishing it up with that suggestion, she hasn't had a problem since. And so these are great ways to learn about different people's struggles and to show them different ways to view life where it actually helps them.
I like the name Grant Me Peace, Grant Peace. Let's talk about that, because a lot of what you do does tie into finding peace through healing, right? And the hypnotherapy work that you do, it takes people on that path.
Oh, yeah. So my name is Grant, so I had to go into business because it's just a beautiful pun. I didn't even want to be a hypnotist. No. So Grant Me Peace is both a pun, and it shows you what you're getting out of the experience. You're getting to grant peace. You're getting to have peace of mind throughout your life. Everyone's going to have struggles. Everyone's going to have problems. Everyone's going to feel down and have issues and trauma. But if you have these skills to train your mind, if you have these skills to have power over your state of being, even in these problems, there's still that underlying feeling of peace, because you know you have control of how you feel.
Just think, your folks could have named you Pell with your middle name Grant. You'd be Pell Grant.
Oh, that would have been great.
It helps with the college education.
Yeah.
Here's Pell Grant right here. It's again, it's really amazing work, and I know you love what you're doing. And here's a great photo here. What's happening here, Grant?
Oh, yes. So that was when I was on stage at the Orange County Fair. That was me with the fellow hypnotist Mark Uzak, as he was showing me what he does, as I was working with him on stage with all sorts of interesting people from the OC Fair. And this was us just talking afterwards, exchanging ideas. Here we are with them in trance. It was a great time.
And all ages too, I could see.
Oh, yeah. Here was me with one of my teachers, one of my certifications of quite many, and you always got to put on a show, even if it's therapy.
Yes,
You gotta.
absolutely.
This was another time where I've done a seminar. It was more of an introductory to hypnosis seminar, and people were really into it. People got so deeply into trance they didn't even want to get out. They woke up because at the very end, I didn't know if I should wake them up yet, and I dropped a pen and it got them out, and they were in love with it.
Right. By dropping the pen, they heard that, and it sort of, quote unquote, the phrase "snap them out of it," as everybody says.
Right. I was just about to walk up to them and like kind of intervene because everyone else was like ready to go, and then it dropped and they opened their eyes and they're like, I want to book a session with you.
Do you ever have, sometimes like you'll have situations where people are sleeping, just regular sleep, even on a couch or in a bed, and they're in a deeper sleep and it's harder for them to just wake up. They're not light sleepers. And when they are out of it or into their sleep, it's deep. Do you ever have where sometimes somebody goes so deep that it takes them a little bit, like not every single person pops back immediately? Do you ever have one who's still enjoying it so much that you got to like drop the pen twice?
It does happen. Oftentimes with a one-on-one, I want to make sure they're getting what they need out of it. So I tell them, and as long as they're sure they got what they needed, they can open their eyes and come out of it. And sometimes it does take a while. Sometimes there is some stuff for them to process. With a group thing like that, there has been times where they are pretty deep into it because they want to be. It's definitely not sleeping. Only once ever did someone fall asleep, and I had to wake them up a little bit, and then we went back into it.
Adam, they are actually locking the building up now. The janitor is sweeping the floors. You do have to, I know you love this, but here's my card. Call me tomorrow. Let's set something up.
I know, right? Luckily, there's some cues to see if they're sleeping or if they're in a trance, like the movement of their eyes under their eyelids, the fluttering of their eyelids. Different external trance indicators show it. So I don't run into that issue really, but it has happened once.
It's quite amazing when you really think about it, huh?
Right.
Is there anything, I know we're not all together in the same room, but we have, thousands and thousands of folks who watch our show live, and then also some are commenting, but a lot just watch and then they'll comment later on our YouTube channel. And we encourage folks to do that. Leave a comment on our YouTube channel underneath the episode. Interact with us. Let us know what you like about this show and all the shows. Leave a like for us as well. And subscribe to the channel. That would be fantastic. We love that. But is there anything that you can show us or do or just say that might have an impact on all of us watching live now, and then those who will also see this in our JMS archives later? Some words, some method, anything you could do to calm us all?
Yeah, so without seeing everyone, it would be a little difficult, but I can show you different tactics that you can do yourself so you can put yourself in a trance. There's all sorts of different ways. One good one is a variation on what's called the Dr. Flowers induction.
Oh,
Not because
cool. I don't know
Yeah,
if it
right?
helps to tell you that they're all JMS lovities. So maybe that'll give you a little.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So with the Dr. Flowers induction, his name wasn't Flowers. He actually had you stare at a thing of flowers in his office. So I would have you just stare at anything in the distance, anything at all that can capture your attention. And what you're going to do is just focus on it. Make sure you're relaxed. Make sure you're focused, and you can just focus on the breathing as well, because that's a good bridge. As you notice, you don't consciously think about breathing. Your unconscious mind allows it. But you can bridge it. When you focus on the breath, you notice that you have control over it the whole time. And as you stare at that item in the distance, you can simply just focus on the relaxation of the eyelids. And you can simply just begin to close the eyelids and open them back up with each number that I count. And allow yourself the power, allow yourself the control to relax yourself so deeply that you can just let the eyelids remain closed so deeply that it just makes sense for them to stay closed. It's not worth the effort to even open them again. And you can open the eyelids and close them with each number, staring at that item. 1, and closing the eyelids. 2, opening and closing the eyelids. 3, opening and closing the eyelids. 4, and allowing the process to happen with each number until they're just so relaxed that they won't open. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and keeping them closed at 10, and understanding, deeply understanding within your unconscious mind that you have the power, you have the control over all of it. Because you already know from watching the Gym Masters show and being a lover to yourself, you already realize that you have greater potential within your life, and you can obtain anything that you put your mind to, as long as you're willing to give yourself the power, the control that your unconscious mind already has. And whenever you're ready, you can simply just open your eyes and be here now. And it can be as simple as that. We can allow it to go even deeper through even deeper processes, but that's always a good way to just get someone through the idea of what hypnosis can be.
It's really incredible. You do feel a peace. You do feel a calm. How does it work for people you work with who maybe they're not calm people to begin with? Maybe they have anxiety and they're always worrying and stressed out and they're just very anxious people. How does it work for people who, again, are like that, to be able to really get them to that level of calm and peace and balance and oneness?
Yeah, so that happens a lot. There's a lot of people like that. And so we don't necessarily utilize the calmness as much as we utilize the focus, because they're maybe naturally a little more observant, a little more analytical in their mind, and a little more anxious. We're not so focused on the relaxation because they'll be thinking, am I relaxed yet? I'm not relaxed yet. And they'll be going through this whole cycle. So we focus more on the direct focused attention. So we'll do through the whole interview process. It's a very long process. I can get into if you'd like. It's very interesting about the interview process, asking them their issues and what they'd like in return. And through
tell
that,
us about that. Yeah.
Oh, sure. So they'll get in, and that's the first thing we do, a values elicitation. I'll ask them what they want. And most of the time when they come in, they tell you, well, I don't want this. I don't want to feel anxious. And you don't want to feel a lot of things. That's very true. It's easy to know what you don't want because the pain motivated you away from that. Now we're going to the motivation of pleasure. What do you want to go towards? What is it that you truly want? And that's a little harder. And so then they'll decide what they want. Well, I want respect. I want peace. And then, well, that means something different to everyone. For example, if you wanted respect, well, my criteria for what respect is may be that you respect my feelings. So you might bend the truth a little, you might beat around the bush, but that's to respect my feelings because you respect me. And your criteria of respect might be you respect the truth. I tell you how it is, what it is, just because I respect you and I want you to know the full truth. And so we might both value respect, but our criteria is so different that we don't even see the respect within each other. So this whole questionnaire, it's not a ton of questions, but getting to the answers does take a little bit of time. And so that's a big portion of the session, is getting the full blueprint, the foundation of what they truly want, why they want it, and if it really correlates with their values. And throughout that whole process, oftentimes I will be adjusting my posture, my breath, the way I speak, and the words I speak, because you don't have to do a formal induction like the Dr. Flowers, like the Ellman induction. There is hypnotic language that can get them into a slight trance. And as you go further, you then have them focus on things, imagine things, focus on different parts of their body that creates that direct focused attention. So the relaxation maybe isn't needed, but at some point they do calm down and they do relax because they're in that trance.
Very, very nice. Why do you love doing this work?
Why do I love doing this work? It's just so interesting in the fact that it's helped me throughout my life, through learning how to communicate with people better, learning to have better relationships with family, with my wife, with everyone around me. It's helped every aspect of my life. And it's so fascinating that I can't help but want to show other people. I don't preach it out. I'm not, oh, I'm a hypnotist and I can help you. I don't really do any advertising. Everything that has been given to me or that I've had an opportunity has been organic by people seeing what I do and showing other people. But I just want to help people because it's helped me so much. And I've gone years and spent money learning other things that were slightly hypnosis but took you the wrong direction. And I want to show people that this is kind of cutting out the middleman, cutting out any of the woo-woo throughout it, any of the ideas that don't serve you. This is strictly just technique.
What are some of the myths about it that confused people? You talked about some of them in the beginning.
Yeah, some of the myths, there's a lot of myths, especially the mind control one. A lot of people think that you're doing something to them. Another one is that you have to feel hypnotized for it to work. That one's actually really interesting because I used to think that too. Thought you had to feel like you were in a trance. The only problem is, what does a trance feel like? Everyone has a different answer. And when you look at these peer-reviewed case studies that anyone can look up, if you go on scholar.google.com, you can look up hypnosis and anything, and you can find how effective it is in medical studies for each issue. And through many issues, one particularly for allergies, it showed that even the people that claimed they didn't feel hypnotized, they didn't feel like it worked or they were in a trance, showed significant results, significant advances in their issues of allergies. And so that's another interesting one. You don't even have to feel hypnotized for hypnotherapy to work. And that's a medical study. That's not my opinion. That's science.
That's incredible, huh?
Right?
That's amazing. Really is. What are some of the cool things you have coming up, Grant?
I like to stay busy. So in addition to seeing private clients, I like to do these seminars. I'm currently writing a book, so I'm excited about that. It's a fun process to get these ideas out into a physical medium. Other than that, I have an upcoming Vegas show. You can keep looking up my website at grantmepeace.com. There's an upcoming experience page, so once the date is solidified, once all the details are solidified, you can go on there and check out when that is. Roughly next month, I will be filmed in a movie where I will be playing myself, Grant the hypnotherapist, a very lucrative role. And then next week, Monday the 14th in Laguna Beach, I am hosting a free introductory to hypnosis seminar. So everyone will be going to the shop. It's a crystal shop. It's not my place. I'm actually doing the event for someone. And I will be there teaching people what hypnosis is, how to apply it in your life, and showing people how to do it themselves completely for free. There's going to be a PowerPoint. It's going to be a little silly. It's going to be very sincere, very heartfelt. We're going to get to know each other. There's also going to be the option of getting gifts at the end. It's going to be a really fun time next week in Laguna Beach at Moonlight, Crystal, and Earth at 6 p.m.
What a great name, Moonlight, Crystal, and Earth. It's like Peter, Paul, and Mary.
I know, right? So it's fun stuff. I keep staying busy. I've been on TV shows at Comic-Con, at the fair. I have more stuff coming up. Whatever I can do to just show people how fun and how fulfilling it is to take back your power, your control.
You know, we're talking about AI lately. Tim asks, is it possible to use AI to hypnotize folks? And how has it been used by government, I guess?
Oh, okay. So that's a very interesting question. Is it possible for AI to hypnotize someone? Maybe with a few more advancements. AI is still slightly in its fetal stages. I'm sure it will be able to. What's interesting is that there's actually articles of people hypnotizing AI. If you look up people hypnotizing AI, they have written prompts in certain ways where it kind of hacks the AI and it acts in ways that it normally wouldn't because they've slightly put it in its own mechanical trance. So that's really interesting, actually, when I read about that. As far as the government, absolutely 100%. In fact, John Grinder, Tony Robbins, they were hired by the CIA to show them how to use some hypnotic neurolinguistic programming techniques. They definitely use hypnosis because it is one of the most effective ways to influence people. And so not only is the government using hypnosis, but advertisement, the media, even slight things like I like to highlight different restaurants or fast food like Starbucks when they're out of an item, they don't put out of order, they put returning soon. Same with McDonald's, they put coming soon, because if you see it's out of order, you're thinking of the negative and you're upset. But they're future pacing it to a positive experience. Oh, I get to come back because this is returning soon. How exciting. So advertising, marketing, the government, everyone is using hypnosis. And so now I'm here to show you how to use hypnosis to help yourself, not for other people to use it to try to influence you, but for you to influence yourself.
Hey, Tim mentioned the movie. The movie is called Last Sunset of the Peaceful Warrior. Wow.
Yes, that's the movie I'm going to be
Eric
on.
Roberts.
Rob Van Dam.
We got to get him on the show too, and get these guys on the show and tell us about that. Have everybody come on and we'll talk about that movie. Tim, get to work. That would be cool to get the guys on too as well. But congratulations. How's it feel to be in a movie?
Yeah, it's great stuff. You know, I don't take any of this for granted. I'm not so much about myself. Oh, I get to be on a movie, but I'm excited that I get to show people what hypnosis is at a larger scale. It's just so amazing that I get to do all these things. I don't know why I get all these wonderful opportunities, but I'm sure I'm grateful for them.
And the website again is grantmepeace.com.
Correct. Grantmepeace.com. I have case studies. I have all sorts of issues hypnosis helps with. I have upcoming experiences, different events you can find me on, and past events that have been recorded or various podcasts I've been on.
That's fantastic. There we have it right there on the screen. Grant Me Peace, Peace, of course.
Correct.
That's cool stuff. Wow, that's great. What do you see as the future of this work, Grant?
Oh, it's always changing. It had one of its biggest changes in the 1970s, but it's always changing. If people learn how to do it, if it becomes even more mainstream, it's pretty popular right now, but if it becomes even more mainstream, my hopes are that people won't need to rely on other things. People won't need to rely on other substances. They'll have the skills to do it themselves, and it will be treated more like personal training just for your mind. People will be able to do it themselves. And if they need a little help with learning other techniques, then they go see the hypnotherapist. So that's my goal and my hope for the future of hypnosis.
That is really, really cool. Congratulations on everything that's happening. It's really amazing and eye-opening and interesting. And Merlin in Canada had asked, have you ever been to a police station and helpful to find someone or things?
I have never done forensic hypnosis, if
Which is
that's
what
what
that
you're
is.
referring to. I've never done that myself. I've heard of it. I've had teachers who have done it in Canada, but I've never had the experience of doing that myself. Not everyone is as open to it, which is also why education helps, because it shows people what hypnosis is and they're less scared and intimidated by it.
Exactly right. Yes. There's the website again. There's no hyphen in between. I think we had a hyphen in between the Grant Me Peace. Is there?
I used to have a hyphen because
Okay.
Grant Me Peace was taken. The domain's now open and it's mine. So either way, it'll take you there. Either
That's
one
what
will
we
take you.
thought. Yeah, because we noticed that we tried it with the hyphens in between, which we showed earlier, and it did do that. So you waited a long time to get it, and it came available.
Right. I kept checking maybe once a month. And
Is
then
it
finally
that a
it was there.
score? Yes,
I
that happened to
know.
me with gymmasters.com.
Really?
Same thing. Years and years and years and years. And then during the pandemic, somebody must have let it lapse, or they just didn't want it anymore, or they changed what they're doing, and it became available. And that's like winning the lottery.
Yeah, that's great. Happy for you as well.
I know. We're working on building a site for it. Been so busy doing this and all my professional stuff, but yeah, it is kind of cool when you get it. So there you go, folks. Either way, hyphen or no hyphen, grantmepeace.com. what would be something you'd like to share maybe with our audience that would be a word of positivity or inspiration if somebody's watching and maybe they're going through something really tough right now, and a lot of people are, maybe to lift them up right here on the Jim Masters Show?
Yeah, so people go through all sorts of different things. You're going to have issues throughout your life. And while we don't have all the time in the world to show you exactly how to take on every little aspect, one good way is to realize, like, this isn't what I want. So what do you want? Write it down, what you want. All the little details of exactly what you want. Because if you know what you want, it's easier to find. It becomes familiar. And identify where it is, where that issue is, because there are various levels that the issue can reside. Let's use drinking as an example, but this applies to anything, because the levels of belief are from the bottom to top: environment, behavior, skills, values and beliefs, identity, and purpose. Now that's a lot to take on, so we'll dissect this a little. Let's say drinking is the issue. Some people, they drink a lot, but only around their friends or only at that bar. It's a problem, but it's only at the specific area. So that's an environmental issue. Whereas other people, they drink, their dad drank, their grandfather drank, drinking runs in the family. That's an identity issue. If that's the issue at hand, you're not going to change it by moving location. You're not going to change it by changing your behaviors or even your values and beliefs. You have to change who you view yourself as an identity. So understanding the structure of beliefs, identifying where your issue is within that structure, and laying out exactly what you want will be one of the best ways to get a head start on your help.
That is cool. What a great way to sort of summarize things in our fantastic conversation, Grant. This was really terrific. It's a great subject to delve into and show examples of, and thanks for doing that little segment there live for all of us to sort of experience it on a minimal degree. grantmepeace.com is the site to go to connect. But it's a fascinating topic, and I was very excited to have an opportunity to delve in deep. We covered just about everything on this show, like a talk show would, with all these different categories and genres and guests from all these different backgrounds. And that's what I love doing about this, because every show is something unique and different and special. And having you come on to really sort of break down the work that you do and give us examples of it is fantastic. And you add in levity too. We talk a lot about light, love, levity here on the show, and levity. You add in elements of the entertainment factor and the levity as you go along, especially with the stage shows, right?
Oh yeah, the stage shows are so much fun. I mainly do the therapeutic, but when I get an opportunity, when someone wants me to do a stage show, I'm always all in, because it's just a lot of fun. I, of course, add in some self-empowerment to it, but yeah, I focus a lot on the fun, on the humor, on the stage presence of the stage show, and I love that opportunity as well.
Tim wants to know how you differ from past hypnotists or even other folks that are out there that do this work, maybe the uniqueness of your approach.
Yeah, so every hypnotist is different. I know some of them aren't certified, which is important. It's important to find one that's a member of a certification board. I've got some of my credentials up there and the screen behind me and the wall behind me. Some of them aren't certified, so some of them are mainly doing progressive muscle relaxations, which is basically meditation. So it is important to find someone who's certified. So that's one way I differ. I have the training. You get audited to make sure you're still always advancing in your teachings. I've had some of the best mentors that you can have. So that's another way. I've been very fortunate for that. Other ways would be my age, because I am somewhat younger than the average hypnotist. So I've learned through newer developments within the field, whereas other people have learned some older techniques. I've learned some of the newer, up-to-date groundwork of hypnosis, and a lot of it has to do with my permissive way of doing it. Some hypnotists have a direct authoritarian approach where they act like they are the one in control, and you will now close your eyes and that kind of thing. Whereas not every hypnotist is a permissive one that gives you the control, that gives you the power. And I've combined that through various forms of hypnosis, through Ericksonian, through Elman, through conversational hypnosis, neurolinguistic programming. It's a mesh of all the different fields of hypnosis combined into one.
And hypnosis and hypnotherapy can be used for some of the most common things that people deal with, overeating, addictions. You hear a lot about stopping smoking, things of that nature as well, too, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Those are some of the things that it's most effective with. It's for all sorts of issues. I've had doctors' offices call me about patients who have phobia of needles. They've wanted me to help them with their phobias. Smoking, of course, overeating, these are all dependencies. A lot of these things that don't look like they're the same often come from the same area of trauma, the same area of not knowing what they truly want. And so while some of the techniques are exactly the same, everyone's different in why they want what they want and what their values are. So it's always custom tailored to exactly what they need. But a lot of these issues run hand in hand.
Our special guest is internationally renowned and certified hypnotherapist, Grant Offenberger, joining us live from right between, he's in the Inland Empire. I mean, wouldn't you expect him to be there? Wouldn't you expect the hypnotherapist to be in the Inland Empire, which is between Los Angeles and San Diego? Matter of fact, I got a taste of it. We have relatives, cousins that live in Palm Springs and other areas. We got a lot of relatives on the West Coast too. And Temecula, what a great place Temecula is. I was on a TV shoot out there, and the wineries, and it's just beautiful. It's we're talking between Los Angeles, California, and San Diego is where he is positioned in Chino, and not to be confused with Chico, which is further north. There too. But it's a great area there, huh? Nice spot. The Inland Empire. Is your house on a hill, overlooking the rest of the Inland Empire?
This is my castle.
And is Tim in the Inland Empire?
Tim is in Las Vegas.
That's right.
He has to come visit the Inland Empire.
So you're in the Inland Empire, and he's in the Sinland Empire.
They couldn't keep us together. It would have been too much.
That's it. You gotta laugh, right? This was great, Grant. Spread the word about our show, and I really hope the show met whatever expectations you had, and you enjoyed the time with me and our viewers around the world as much as I and we have with you.
I've loved being here. I love talking with you. I love showing people some various things in the world of hypnosis, and I'm happy to be back anytime.
Tim says, he threw in, "Oh, Grant, tell us about your office. I've been to a Zen garden, and it's pretty layered in adventures." Tell us about the layered adventures in the Inland Empire.
Yeah, so my office is on a 1/4 acre of land in the Inland Empire. I love my area. I think it's beautiful. I have all these designated compartmentalized spaces within this 1/4 acre of land. There's a lounge area surrounded by trees with pixie lights over top. There's a beautiful lawn. There's an outside dining area. There's all sorts of various things because it's nice to also do workshops here, various events that last a good amount of time. And so even with my office, I have this large rolling door so you can open it up for various workshops. So it can be an indoor-outdoor experience. The place is beautiful. Anyone that ever wants to check it out, either for an in-person session or if I have free time, of course, if you just want to come see it, that's always great.
Bring a sandwich and you're in. It's that is cool. So it's a nice calming setting where you are there, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty much the first thing everyone says when they sit down. They're like, wow, this is great. I already feel calm.
So do you hail from that area, or did you transplant to that area?
No, I was born in Brea, California, pretty close, maybe a half hour away. At the age of 5, we moved to Chino. And then I have lived in Chino ever since, including buying a house maybe 2 blocks away from my childhood house that my parents still live in. Like, this is my area. I love it here. I would never leave.
And he only wears chinos. That is it with every session. Multicolors, but they're there.
How'd you know?
I do my research. I do my research before my guests come on.
I guess so.
GrantMePeace.com, and Grant Offenberger is here joining us. Grant, thanks so much for being here. We'll definitely have you back. Keep us posted on the movie. Maybe we'll have you guys back with that as well and talk up the movie. That'll be cool. Spread the word about our show if you know other folks you think like to pop on. And this was a real pleasure. Hope you enjoyed it again.
Absolutely. I definitely did. Thank you for having me.
You're very, very welcome. Thanks for stopping by, my friend. And we'll see you again real soon, okay?
Talk to you soon.
All right. You take care. Enjoy your time in the Inland Empire.
Oh, yeah.
And you got that light over you. It almost looks very spiritual. Very spiritual. That's, he is in the Inland Empire.
What would you expect?
Next stop, heaven.
You just take the 60 and you're there.
And you're there. Yeah, that's right. 5 is hell. Highway 5.
You did do your research.
Oh, yeah, my God. Jeez. All right. You take care, Grant. Thanks for stopping by the Jim Masters Show.
You too. Thank you, Jim.
All right. Cheers. What a great guest. Grant Offenberger, internationally renowned certified hypnotherapist, coming to us live from Chino, California. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And his website is grantmepeace.com. Whether you have the hyphen in or not, he used to have the hyphen in. And then he got the site, so he doesn't need the hyphen. And it was a pleasure having him as a special guest. Truly, he does grant people peace by helping them heal and so much more. And there's some other cool shots that we have. Isn't that really cool? That was from March. And then the flyer for the upcoming event, Awakening Inner Power. It was really great having him here on the show. And you learned something about maybe a subject that you heard about and didn't know much about, and now you do with Grant here on the show. Thanks for all the great comments, gang. If you enjoyed this episode, put you to work a little bit, we would really love it if you give the episode a thumbs up like on our YouTube channel. That helps us grow. It helps the algorithm. It helps many more people see these episodes. Leave a comment for us. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, which houses hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes of our series. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe to Jim Masters TV. And also, when you do, don't forget to click the notification bell. It's a little bell icon right next to the subscribe button. And that way there you get alerts. You get notifications from us about all the episodes, all the special times, surprise pop-up shows, and other cool things we have always been doing and continue to do. Yes, it is supper time. Thank you very much, Merlin. Thank you, Sherry Larson, watching in Kansas. Happy birthday to Sherry as well. It is her birthday. Kathleen says, thanks for being here, Grant. Great show. And Sherry also thanks Grant for being here. We appreciate it. Tim, thank you, buddy. We appreciate it as well. And spread the word about our show. Everybody's welcome to join us. And good stuff. And we already did, Merlin. Yes, your comment a little delayed, but still there. And you too as well, Kathleen, and everybody watching. If you'd like to see this episode again, joined us late, don't fret. It is archived right here on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, where all the episodes are there for the asking and your viewing entertainment. Thanks for being with us, gang. We love you all. Take care and be well. We say goodbye, never. We say see you later, always. Thanks for stopping by. It's always a pleasure. We'll see you on the next episode of the Jim Masters Show live series. For all of us here, take care and be well. Cheers.